Let's be honest. Sometime in the last year, or maybe in the last few minutes, you've had the thought, the world is really broken. Not rough patch broken, but actually structurally nobody's driving the bus broken. And every time you pick up your phone, it hands you fresh evidence. Wars, collapsing trust, a planet running a fever, prices that stop making sense. So today, let's ask the question out loud. The one we usually just feel in our chest at 1 a.m. Why is the world so friggin' messed up? And here's the part that nobody says. Is it actually as bad as it feels, or are we just the first humans ever built to feel all of it at once? So I went down a rabbit hole on this. Philosophers, psychologists, even a few people convinced that the apocalypse is running on schedule. The answers sort into three different buckets. So stick around because the third one is the only one you have any control over. To start with, let's say what this actually is. Because the world is bad isn't really the feeling, is it? The feeling is helplessness. You can see every problem in HD in real time from 6 continents, and you can't touch a single one. So you do the modern thing. You scroll, you read one more article, you tell yourself being informed is basically the same as being in control. Well, guess what? It isn't. There's even a name for what happens when the system around you looks obviously broken and you feel powerless to change it. You start acting like it's normal. You go to work, pay your taxes, make small talk, and quietly assume the wheels are coming off. The gap between this is clearly not fine and I guess this is just how life is now is exhausting. And because here's the twist. People don't go numb because they stop caring. They go numb because they care too much and have nowhere to put it. So why does modern life crank that helplessness up to 11? This is where it gets kind of interesting. Because some of the misery is basically a design flaw. Take the story we're all raised on, for example. Anyone can make it if they're smart enough and work hard enough. Inspiring, right? Now let's flip it over. If winners totally earn the top, then losers totally earn the bottom, right? And suddenly bad luck looks like a personal verdict. We quietly deleted the words luck and tragedy from the script, so now every struggle feels like proof you're defective. Pile on a culture obsessed with being exceptional, where being ordinary, by the way, the thing almost all of us are statistically going to be, somehow counts as failure. That's not the universe being cruel. That's a set of ideas we're absorbed without reading the fine print. There's a second design problem, and it's a little bit bigger. We lost the wide shot. For most of history, people had something, a faith, a tradition, a shared story that sat above their daily life and quietly shrank it. Your bad day, your status anxiety, your petty rivalry held up against eternity or a congregation made it smaller. A lot of people still find that steadiness in religion, and that's real. A lot of others don't. And the question is, what replaces it? Because when nothing sits above your own life, every win and every humiliation becomes the entire universe. There's no zoom out. Some people fill that gap with faith, and some others with the night sky or the ocean or music that makes the hair stand up on your arms. Anything big enough to remind you that you're small in a way that's actually a relief. We didn't just lose institutions, we lost the habit of feeling small on purpose. And then the last ingredient. We pour all of that into a machine engineered to keep us afraid. Your feed does not show you the 8 billion ordinary acts of decency that happened today. It shows you the worst thing that happened anywhere on the earth. Then the next worst, forever. Maximum awareness, 0 levers to pull. That might be the most efficient anxiety factory I've ever heard of. So back to the real question. Is the world actually more messed up than before, or does it just feel that way? Honestly, it's a bit of both. Some things are actually on fire, but humans have lived through plagues, world wars, and collapses that make our timeline look pretty gentle. They just didn't get push notifications about all of it. What's new isn't that the world's broke. What's new is that we feel all of it all the time with no off switch and nowhere to put the feeling. Which points straight to the one thing you actually control. Not the wars, not the markets, not the climate, your response to all of it. And no, that's not just think positive. That's numbness wearing a smiley face. It's actually the opposite. It's looking dead on at how bad things are and refusing to file it under hopelessness. 3 moves. First, name it out loud to a real human. The second you say, this isn't normal and it's freaking me out, the spell cracks. Because the worst version of this is believing you're the only one who sees it. Second, shrink the input. You do not need the 24th update on a tragedy you can't touch. Past a certain point, awareness isn't virtue, it's self-harm. Third, find your own local lever, the small thing actually within your reach, and move it. A neighbor, a cause, a street, a person. Small things spread further than they have any right to. There's a line from a man named Antonio Gramsci, written from a prison cell under a fascist government. So you could say he'd earned the right to be cynical. He said the trick is pessimism of the intellect and optimism of the will. Translation, see it clearly for what it is and refuse to give up anyway. The world might be on fire, but you're not a spectator to history. You're one of the people who gets to write what happens next. So the homework isn't to fix the world by Friday. It's smaller and harder than that. Pick the one thing inside your reach this week and actually do something about it. So tell me below, what's your lever? What's the one thing that's within your reach? Because that's where the wide shot starts to come back. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe and share this with somebody who needs to hear it.